Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another live as part of the Uceed 2022 examination preparations. You're with THiNC Institute of Design. Today is the third session that we have been planning, that we have been doing for the last week in the lead up to the Uceed exams, which has been scheduled for the 23rd of January. That is the coming Sunday. So as part of that, today we have a discussion on part A. A lot of aspirants were asking us about the part A because for the last 2 days we have been doing part B drawing feedback sessions. Just a sound check before I'm moving ahead. Host, am I clearly audible?
You are audible, sir.
Thank you. So today, as part of the Uceed preparation sessions, we have part A non-verbal reasoning session, which would be conducted by our faculty, Chaitanya sir. Chaitanya sir is an IIT Alumnus. So I would take this opportunity to welcome sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah, you're good to go. The stage is all yours, sir.
So, thank you so much, Suraj. Welcome, everyone. First of all the best to all of you, whoever is attempting Uceed. So I'll just get on with it. What I'll do is first I'll explain to you what the basic question paper is about and how it might look to all of you, at least the part A. And then I'll show you some types of questions that might come in the examination. And we'll discuss a few of them. Meanwhile, there is a delay in this live video. So you guys, if you have any doubts, you can keep posting your doubts on the YouTube live chat. And after I've done presenting, I can try and solve some questions or some doubts that you guys have. Okay. So there have been some changes in the papers from this year, I think from last year and this year. So the question paper is structured in this way that it will be one question paper for 3 hours of total duration. Okay. This includes part B as well, right? So, and the question paper will be in English, of course. The question paper will carry a total marks of 300 marks. So you will have to, like the higher you get, the better it is. And of course, there's negative marking in the paper, right? So the question paper will consist of 2 parts. As I already said, part A and part B, it is compulsory to attempt questions from both the parts. Right? They're very different parts, but today we'll just be discussing part A. Now, if you can see my screen here, the first section of part A, okay, we are only talking about part A here. The first section of part A will be numerical answer type. Of course, I'll show you the examples, but what happens in numerical answer type would be that the questions would seek an answer that will always be a number. Okay, the answer will always be a number. Whether they want you to calculate something, whether they want you to visually find a number, whether they want you to count days in a calendar, whatever it is, the answer would be a number. Okay, there will be 18 questions from that. The correct marks of the questions would be 4 marks for a correct answer, 0. So there is no negative marking, 0 marks for a wrong answer. And if you don't attempt it, again, it is 0 marks. So for this section, you can see for numerical answer, because there is no negative marking, you should ideally attempt all of the questions, isn't it? Even if you're confident in something, even if you're not confident, at least attempt if there is no negative marking. Host and Sachin, if I make a mistake anywhere, please point it out in between, right? We don't want to give false information.
Yeah, so, of course.
Yeah. The second section of the paper would be multiple select question. Now, this is something that you guys might get confused with. It is a little confusing, but I'll just show you briefly. So there will be a question which will have answers A, B, C, D. These will be the options, right? And for example, imagine that the correct answer is, they've asked how many of these numbers can be divided by 2. And they've given you 1, 2, 3, 4 as the answer, as the options. So 2 would be correct answer, 4 would be the correct answer, B and D, right? So B is the correct answer, D is the correct answer. Yes. But if you choose A and C, so now, for example, you've chosen A and C, right? You will get negative marking because it is a wrong answer, right? For getting full marks for this question, you will have to choose both the correct answers. So if 2 and 4 are the correct answer, you have to choose B and D as the option. If you choose B and D, and along with that, you choose one wrong answer. Imagine that, one wrong answer you choose, even though you're given the correct answer, you will still be marked negatively. So and of course, if you choose only the wrong options, for example, if you've chosen A and C, there will be negative marking, right? But if you choose only one of the correct answers, for example, B and D is the correct answers, and if you choose only B, you will be given partial marks. Okay, so partial marks if you choose one of the correct answers or two of the correct answers. Correct answer could be A, B, C also, right? So if you choose B and C, you will get partial marks. If you choose one correct answer, one wrong answer, if you just think of it that if you choose wrong answer at any point of time, you will get negative mark. So for this section, the best idea would be to attempt and to answer only those questions and give only those options which you're 100% confident about. So if you feel like B and D are the correct answer, but you're still not sure about D, right? You've tried everything, but you're still not sure, you go with only B. That way, at least you won't get negative marking, right? So this is multiple select question. Of course, I'll show you multiple select questions as well. I'll give you examples. And the final part would be multiple choice questions where there will only be one correct answer. So for example, B is the correct answer. You give the correct answer, you get 3 marks. If you don't give the correct answer, if you give a wrong answer, you get negative marks. But if you don't attempt the question, 0 marks, right? So the first section, numerical answer type, 72 marks in total, multiple select questions, 72 marks in total, and multiple choice questions, 96 marks in total, which in totality makes 240 marks for 68 questions, right? And then there is part B, where it can be 1 or 2 questions. It might just be 1 question, where it will be a huge question for sketching, right? But it will be very, the marks will be very heavy for that. Okay. If you have any doubts, please post the question in the chat box. For the people who are posting the questions, I will clarify your doubts after I've done presenting. Okay, so we'll have a question answer session separately. I'll answer the questions at that time. Okay, but it is better if you list out all your questions. If there is any confusion, please write it down. Okay, so this is your question paper structure. Okay, so Sakshi and Abdullah and Safalia are asking some questions. I will answer after this is done. Okay, after my presentation is done, then I'll take all the questions. Okay, now let me show you the types of questions that can come. Part A is non-verbal reasoning. Okay, non-verbal reasoning, where you have to give logic by just seeing the question. How can you give logic, right? Within that, there are several topics that can come. So one of those topics is geometry-based questions, right? Find the area, find the perimeter, find whatever, right? So for example, let me just take this question, okay, because it does not have a lot of calculation. Let us do this. Find the area of the hexagon divided by the area of the triangle. Now remember, I told you the first section is NAT questions, right? Numerical answer based questions, which means the answer will definitely be some sort of number. How do we solve a question like this? Even if we don't have the answer here, even if we don't have numbers here, we don't know what is the length, right? What is the length? We don't know. How do we solve a question like this? I'll give you 30 seconds to think. You may or may not answer, that is fine. But think, how can you, and for all the questions, you will always have the answer right in front of you. You just have to bring in some sort of logic. Okay. So in this question, let me tell you how we can do it. If I take this, right, it is a hexagon. So it has to be divided. Let me draw a thicker line. Right. If I draw a line like this, right, you can see that it is being divided into 6 equal triangles. Yes, I think everybody would agree that this is being divided into 6 triangles. That means whatever the area of the hexagon is, it can be divided into 6 equal pieces. 6 equal pieces, right? One of those pieces is this. Yes, Aditya, you're correct. One of these pieces should be this. So we have one which is covering shaded area, and we can see half of this triangle, half of this triangle, isn't it? Half of this triangle and half of this triangle, which will actually, so this is half. I'll just take a different color. So this is half, which will again make a full triangle. So we can say that the shaded area is approximately 2 triangles, right? We can say that the shaded area is approximately 2 triangles, and the hexagon, complete hexagon, is 6 triangles. So area of hexagon we can say is 6, area of gray triangle is 2. The ratio that you will get, or the answer you will get, is 3, right? So numerical answer, isn't it? You get numerical answer. 3 is the answer, and you will put down 3 as the answer. So that is why you can use logic. Even see, we did not give numbers to it, right? We did not need to include any sort of geometry here, like calculative geometry. We can just do ratios and you were able to do the question. So this is geometry. Then 3:1, correct, Safalia. But yeah, 3:1 will also be correct. 3 will also be correct, right? Because they never mention that write the answer in ratio. So then there will be area finding. Again, you'll have to use logics to find area of this different. Again, area or perimeter. Again, area or perimeter. So this is also interesting. Which will be the biggest? Which of these is the biggest one? Right. Very simply, what you can do in this case is, again, you'll have to use logic. You can divide it into squares. All right. You can just divide it into squares. Right. You can just divide it into squares and count the number of squares, isn't it? If you count the number of squares, you will know which one has the biggest number of squares, the largest number of highest number of squares, and you'll know that it will have the highest area. Okay, so this is geometry. Then comes counting. Now counting is a big part. Okay, counting is a big part of this question paper because they can give you counting of any sort. Here they will ask you which of the fruits are only repeating once. Right? Which of these fruits are only repeating once? So you have to find out unique shapes. So for example, I can see that maybe I might be wrong, but maybe this one is there only once, isn't it? I don't see it repeating again. And similarly, there might be some other shape also which is there only once. Let me see if I can quickly find it. Okay, I'm not able to find it, but I know the answer is 2. There are 2 unique shapes and which are not repeating more than once. So again, the answer is coming as a numerical answer, isn't it? So this is counting, right? Where you have to count the number of shapes. Now counting itself has several different types of questions where they will give you how many cubes are there, right? This is 3D counting. What we did here was organic shape counting. What we're doing here is 3D shape counting. How many cubes are there? If anybody wants to do this question, you can just note down this question, put it in the chat box. We'll revisit this once we're done. Then 2D inorganic shapes, triangles basically. How many triangles are there? So how do you count the number of triangles, right? Yeah, so Albin already found that black pineapple with white dot. Yes. Okay. So how many triangles are there in the figure shown? We have to count inorganic shape. Then how many surfaces does this have? So when you're counting surfaces, when you count surfaces, you count corners as 2 separate surfaces, but you can see this is smooth, right? This corner is smooth. Smooth corners as a single surface. So you have to count the number of surfaces. How many surfaces are there? This will be a single surface, and this will be a single surface. This will be a single surface. This will be a single surface. So it can get very confusing. But if you follow very carefully, if you follow very, very closely, you will get the answer. Okay. Then again, surface counting, they will show now. And also this was 4 views of the same object, right? So that you can count it a little better. Again, different views of the same object, count the number of surface. Different views of the same object. They've only given 1 view, but they've said that it is identical from all the sides. That means it's a symmetrical object from all sides. So count the number of surfaces. Then there is something called figure transformation. In figure transformation, what happens is they will give you a shape, right? And then they'll tell you, they can do many things in figure transformation, right? So this is a 3D shape. They'll give you the shape. They'll tell, transform it 90 degrees like this. Then once you've done that, transform it 90 degrees like this, and then transform it 90 degrees like this. What will you get as the answer? Okay. So you have to mentally rotate it. Okay. What if I rotate it first clockwise 90 degrees from the x-axis, it will look like that. Then you rotate it again, it will look like that. So this is mental rotation and figure transformation. This is one type of figure transformation, 3D figure transformation, where you are rotating. This is also the same. Then they are overlapping 2 shapes. 2D figure transformation. They're overlapping 2 shapes, and then they want you to figure out, once you overlap them, what they would look like. Right. So figure transformation, instead of rotation, here it is overlapping. Right. Okay. Then there is figure rotation. How many of these shapes are a simple rotation of this, the one that they've given? So we can see, for just very quickly, if I can tell you, what was the answer? Yeah, you can see that this is not curving too much, right? But in option C, you can see it is curving too much, right? So option C will not be the answer. Option B will not be the answer because option B is a mirror image of it. See, look at this. This is an S curve from right to left. This is an S curve from left to right. So B is a mirror image of this, right? And I think similarly, no. So A is also correct. A is a rotation, D is a rotation. So this is a question which is multiple select questions. So if this question comes in the examination, I'm just clearing it out again. If this question comes in examination, when A and D is the correct answer, if you write down A, D, and B, you will get negative marking. If you write A, B, and C, you will get negative marking. If you write only A, you will get partial marking. If you write only D, you will get partial marking. If you don't attempt it, you will get 0 marks. And if you select any of the wrong answers, you will get negative marking. Okay. So if you're only sure about A, just answer A. Don't answer D at all. Okay. All right. Then again, this is figure transformation. Then what in these sort of questions are very difficult, where they extrude. Not difficult per se. It is just it requires a lot of mental. I think some of my students did this also yesterday, but where you take shapes and then you extrude them into the 3D world. Extrude them into the 3D world means pulling it into the 3D world. So you can, I'll just quickly give you an example. So for example, if this is a square, if you pull it into the 3D world, it would look like a cube, right? So that is what they have done here. So what they'll say is pull it, then join it, like how they've joined the 4 squares here, and then count the number of surfaces, right? So similarly, try doing it for this as well. Okay. Okay, so guys, just a formal request, note down the question number because, oh, there is no question number. Okay, so describe it better, huh? Because I would need to know which particular question you are referring to. When. So like Jaya is saying, sir, please explain how to do 3D shapes net question. So I don't understand what is saying 3D shapes net question. So just define it a bit more so that I can understand which question you are referring to. This is, see, now this is 2D transformation, right? What they said in this question, rotate this 90 degrees, option P, rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, then 180 degrees anti-clockwise. Sorry, anti-clockwise would be like this. And then flip it horizontally and then flip it vertically. Will it look like Q? They're asking. So very quickly, let me just show it to you. I'll just take it to Photoshop. I think we are doing good time, so I can just take it to Photoshop for all of you. Just for the just a second. Yeah. So look at this. All right. So what they've done is we'll just look at option A. Like we'll look at the options and see whether it is satisfying the need or not. Okay, so I've made a copy of it. Now they're saying rotated option A. I'm looking at option A. Okay, rotated clockwise 90 degrees. So I'm rotating it clockwise 90 degrees, right? Flip it horizontally. So I'm going to flip it horizontally and then rotate it clockwise again 90 degrees. Again rotate it clockwise 90 degrees. So in this question, does it look like option Q? It does not, right? We can very clearly see that this corner does not look like this corner, and this corner does not look like this corner. So we are pretty sure it is not looking like option Q. Now, similarly, let us again check option B, right? Let us check option B. Rotated 180 degrees. So 180 degrees, you don't need to require clockwise, anti-clockwise because it is just 180 degrees, and then flip horizontally, right? And if we flip it, we can see that it is a little, the watermark might be a little disturbing, but we can still see that it has been rotated properly, isn't it? I will, sorry about that. If you can see, it has been rotated properly, right? So that is why option B would be correct. And similarly, you need to do all sorts of other rotations, and you need to figure out whether it works or it does not work, and then only select the correct answers. Okay. Okay. Then comes, these are all figure rotations. Then comes pattern. So there will be some sort of pattern making. Okay. Just excuse me for a minute. Right. Sorry for that. Yeah. So there is pattern making, right? Pattern making what will happen? Pattern making, they will try to ask you what sort of a pattern will be made, and they can ask you in several different ways. They can give you a paint splash like this, right? And they will tell, okay, what happens if I draw a spatula? Drag a spatula across it. What will happen? So I know that this will make a line, right? Okay. Again, I'll also take this also to Photoshop. very quickly I'll be able to explain it to you, right? So I know that I'll just take this color. Now what I'm doing in Photoshop, you guys will have to do it. What I'm doing in Photoshop, you will have to do it mentally, right? So this will happen, right? This will happen, right? Now I know that this whole thing will make one splash, isn't it? This whole thing will make a single splash, which includes this as well, isn't it? This will make one splash, and then this dot will make another splash, right? So see, we are trying to figure out what sort of pattern it will make, and these patterns you will have to do it again. I'm saying it again and again. You will have to do it mentally, right? This will make one. This will make one. This will make one, and finally this will make one, right? So now we can figure out which of these options is correct. We can see that this gap is not that big here, isn't it? So probably we can, and definitely there is no gap that looks like this, right? So option B is eliminated. There has to be, let's say, there has to be one gap here in option A. Option A is eliminated. Let's look at option C and D. I'm getting confused between C and D. I think I might not have made the correct pattern. I think C would be the correct answer, isn't it? What do you guys say? I think C might be the correct answer because of the, I'll just quickly make the gaps again. No, I think D would be the correct answer. Yes, D would be the correct, because this sort of a big gap will not be there. So as Grace is pointing out correctly, such a big gap will not be there. D would be the correct answer, right? So in this case, what you can do is, because you won't have Photoshop with you, you can just try looking at the gaps between the splashes, right? The splashes, what are the gaps? Isn't it? Okay, so this is pattern making. And in pattern making, there are several different types of pattern making questions, like how you can, like they're asking, if we take these two squares of different colors, and if you overlap them with each other, what sort of pattern will it make? So you have to figure out, you have to correlate. Okay, so this is pattern making. Then there is shape formation, where they will give you a shape and they'll try to make a new shape out of it, and you have to understand what sort of shape will be made. So they are asking, if we cut this cube with this plane, how many cubes are getting cut, right? How many cubes? You might think it will be just this one, this one, this one, this one, sorry, this one, and one at the back, but that is not the case. If you pay attention, this cube, this center cube, right? This cube, the top part of it is not getting cut, but the bottom part where it goes here, it might be getting cut from here. So this cube is also getting cut. So you have to figure out, like this cube, how many other cubes might be getting cut. That is what you have to figure out. Okay. So shape, this is we've all done this as children, right? We take paper, we fold it, and then we make a cut. Very quickly, I'll just show it to you. We make a cut, and then we try to figure out what sort of a pattern it will make once we open it. Right. So see, they've given you a paper. Right, this one, they've given you a paper. They first folded it like that, then they folded it like that, like this, right? Then they folded it like this, then they folded it like this, and then they finally made this cut. So what we'll do is we'll try to open it. We'll try to open it back. Okay. So what happens when you open it? You open it like this, right? What happens when you open these two? I'll need just a second. Huh? What happens when you open these two? You'll get something like this, right? And then what happens when you open all four of these as a final step? What happens? We get a mirrored version of that, isn't it? So we can see from here that the correct answer would be option A. But even before that, very easily we can see that when we open it, we'll open one here, then we'll open one here, and then we'll open one here. So that means that the one that we are presented with is the bottom left corner square, right? So we can just see, is the bottom left corner square looking like that? No. Is the bottom square left corner looking like that? No. And option, so we get confused between A and C, whether it will be A or whether it will be C. So if you do just one more step, we will know that in option C, it is looking like this, which is not the case. If you want a mirror image, it would be like this. So option C is also eliminated. Option A would be the correct answer. Okay, so this you will be able to very easily, I'm pretty sure you will be very easily be able to do mentally, but questions can be a little difficult than this. Okay? So you have to mentally imagine it going round and round. Okay, so there are again, we are at which topic is the shape formation. Different sort of shapes are being formed. What sort of a shape will you get once you've done whatever operations they want? So this is shape formation. Very interesting questions and some of them are pretty difficult also, right? So for shape formation, if you're practicing, I would suggest you practice practically. Okay, so for this sort of a question, you can take a screenshot of this question. This sort of a question, you should actually try making it at home with some paper strip and then doing practicals and imagining. It will be very, very interesting, and you will also enjoy, and it'll give you much more clarity if you do it physically. Okay, so these are all shape formation. Then there is part tracing, that if we do this to something, what sort of a path it will trace. So this is part tracing. I'm just trying to show you a question that I can explain it to you easily. Let me show. Okay, let us do this one only. Right. See, this question is asking us, I'll take it here. This question is asking us, you have a rolled paper, right? And you cut it like this, and then you cut it like this. If you do that, which of these options will it get? First of all, because it is being cut gradually, can you see? It is being cut gradually. If it was, let's say, not a fold, but a fold that you have, flattened, and then you made this, right? If you made a flattened fold and then you cut it, you would have gotten sharp edges. Okay. So we know that when it is circular and it is going gradually, it will not be sharp edges. Therefore, we can eliminate option B, right? Out of option A and option C, we can see that the starting point where it is being cut is close, right? And then the next point is pretty far away. That means it starts from close and it goes away. Right? It starts from a shorter cut and then it goes for a longer cut. That means here what is happening, it is starting on a longer cut and it is going shorter, right? This distance is long to short, whereas we want this distance is long to short, whereas we want from short, it should start from short and go to long, right? Which is happening here. So option A is also eliminated. Now option D and C, this just by logic, you can see that the curves are pretty evident. The curves are not very gradual, right? If the cut, instead of this angle, if the cut would have been like this angle, then it would have been very gradual part tracing, right? But because the cut is very steep, see what will happen if it is a straight cut? What will happen if it is a straight cut? It will be a straight line, right? Then you slowly turn it. It will be a steeper line, right? Steeper. And when you reach a cut like this, then you'll have very gradual lines, isn't it? So gradual line is also eliminated. A is also eliminated. B was eliminated. The correct answer would be option C. Okay. So that is how part tracing can be done. Again, different questions will come where you have to map out graphs, where you have to map out, this is a roller where you have to map out a pencil, but logic will always be there and you will have to pay attention to the logic. Okay. If you pay attention to the logic, you'll get the answer. Then shadow based questions. There is a light coming from one area and then there is shadow forming from one area. What sort of a shadow will it form, right? So for example, let us take, let me give you one. Okay. Yeah, I'll take this one. Let us take this one, right? So in this question, it is saying a figure on the left represents a screen from a shadow puppetry show with the arrangement 1 behind the screen. So you can see arrangement 1. Which of the options will be the closest representation of the screen as a result of arrangement 2? Now, all of us know, you might have tried this when we don't have electricity at home and we are, when we are playing with torch or flashlight. When we try to make a shadow from a torch, when we bring our hand closer to the torch, right, the shadow becomes bigger. And when we take our hand away from the torch or for the flashlight, the shadow becomes smaller. right? So whatever cutout is closest to the cutout is closest to the light will give us the biggest shadow. I think you guys will agree. And whatever cutout is away from the light, it will give us a smaller shadow, right? So here we can see, just check it out. It's pretty easy. If you can just pay attention, we can see that what is happening here. One is closest to the shadow, right? One is, I just changed the color of the, just a second. One is closest to the light, right? So what is one here? Elephant cutout. So we can see elephant cutout being big. Now in arrangement 2, we can see that it has moved away from the light, So what will it be? Will it be in arrangement 2? Will the shadow of the elephant be bigger or will it be smaller? If it is moving away from the light, will it be bigger or will it be smaller? What I just said, that if you move it closer to the light, the shadow will appear bigger, but it is moving away from the light, so the shadow will appear smaller. So it cannot appear bigger. It cannot appear bigger. We're only discussing the elephant right now. See, so the option will either be B or the option will be C, right? Now, cutout 3. What is cutout 3? It is a tree cutout, right? It is away from the shadow, right? But here it is closer to the shadow. That means it has to create a bigger shadow. So which of these options is creating a bigger shadow? It is option B. We can clearly see, right? Tree is appearing bigger in option B. So, and it is appearing smaller in option C, which will not be the answer. And we can see that the grass cutout is same for both the light sources. So we don't need to think about that. And slowly you can eliminate the wrong answers and you'll get the correct answer. Okay. I hope it was clear to all of you. Pretty easy, just that you have to think about the logic. Okay. So these are shadows, different shadows. Then there are directions, that if one person is facing towards northeast and the sun is at sunrise. So if they're facing northeast at sunrise, where will their shadow fall? And if they rotate towards south, where will their shadow fall? Because sun rises from the east, right? So if sun rises from the east, shadow should fall on the west side. So these sort of questions, you will have to mentally rotate and you will have to keep in mind the direction of the sun, where the shadow falls and all of that. Okay. So these are shadow-based questions. Then there is font. Font is very interesting. It can be difficult for some people, but it is interesting. So let us take this one. Okay. So just a PSA for anyone who is not comfortable with English now, I can explain it in Hindi. I only know English and Hindi. I can explain it in Hindi, no problem. But this paper itself will be in English. So you guys need to have a little practice for English, right? Because see, you can see this is they've shown Hindi, but this we don't know which language this is, right? But still you need to identify the font. So for reading the questions, you need to know English, and for understanding visual reasoning, you need to have logic. Okay. So here it is asking us if each word is written in a single font and normal and bold versions of the same font are not to be counted separately, how many fonts are being used in this word? So what they're saying is, bold and non-bold version of the same font should be counted as one only, right? For example, can you see that? Let me see if I don't want to give you wrong information, so I'm just being sure. Let me see. Yeah, can you see that these two are same? They're exactly same, right? A little smaller, one is a little bigger. And let me see if I can find a bold version of. Yeah, can you see that? No, this one is not the bold version of that. Do we have a bold version of this? Yeah. So we can see that these two are same, right? So you have to consider them as one. So what I'll do is I'll use different colors, right? So what did we first initially find that these two are same, right? So I'm using one color. Then I'll use yellow. For yellow, any font looking similar to this one, any word looking similar to this one. I think, let me know if I'm wrong. I think this is similar to that, right? Then let me take blue. Any font that is similar to this one. Are these two similar? I might be wrong, huh? So forgive me for that. I might be wrong, but it is okay. At least if you understand the logic, it will be good. These two seem similar. They do, right? And then let's say See now, these two seem similar, but they're not similar because you can see that this letter, there is a slight change in this letter, right? So we know that these two won't be similar, but these two definitely seem similar. Okay, these two seem similar. Now looking at the rest of the four, actually these two also seem similar if you look at them closely. And then the two remaining are they look unique. The two remaining look unique. So I'll just use a circle for them, right? So how many did we find? 1, 2, the red one is 3, yellow one is 4, green one is 5, purple one is 6, blue one is 7. Did we use anything? No. Lose anything? No. So 7 different fonts have been used. So that is how you will have to identify fonts. And identifying fonts, yes, correct, Shambhavi. 7 is the correct answer. Identifying fonts itself, at least one or two questions might come from fonts. Uceed question makers really like using fonts for questions. So these are all fonts questions. Then there is animation, right? For animation, I would suggest all of you should refer to 12 rules of animation. If you read them properly, if you understand them properly, you will be able to answer all of these questions. So even in this particular question, we can be a little lucky because this can be solved with logic. That what should be the correct balancing posture for Mr. Kumar. So we know that if Mr. Kumar is standing like this, he will fall down. If Mr. Kumar is standing like this, he will fall down. If Mr. Kumar is standing like this, he will fall down. So only option C seems to be balanced. So option C would be correct, right? So that is how, but this is less animation, it is more logic. But if you look at question like this, it is animation. If you look at question like this, it is from principles of animation. So stretching principle, distortion principle, squash and stretch, motion principle, look at these questions. Okay, these questions, look at these principles, read up on these principles today only, because if you read up on them, it will be much more beneficial to you. Okay, then there are mechanical systems. Mechanical systems, they'll show you some sort of a physical mechanical system, and they want you to understand, they've only given one option to us. They want you to understand, they want you to answer what sort of logic would be correct. So basically, if you see, so if there are two pulleys, imagine there are two pulleys, right? These are two pulleys, and there is a rope connecting them. Can I pull the rope in this direction as well as in this direction? Or better than that, can the pulleys, if these are pulleys, right? Can the pulleys rotate in opposite directions? Can they rotate in opposite direction? I don't think so, right? If I pull the rope here, this will rotate clockwise, so anti-clockwise, this will rotate anti-clockwise. If I pull it in this direction, it will rotate clockwise, it will rotate clockwise, isn't it? So they can never, if they're connected, they can never rotate in opposite directions, right? So now let us look at the question. So can Q and R, because they're connected, can they rotate in different directions? No. That means Q and R rotating in different directions. Similarly, P and S rotating in different directions would be the wrong answer. Okay. What else can we eliminate? Can Q, R, P, and S, as shown in option A, can they be rotating in the same direction? All four of them. So if R is rotating here, Q is also rotating here, it will go down, right? It will go down. That means the rope is being pushed this direction. That means this rope is being pushed in this direction. That means P will start rotating in the clockwise direction. S will start rotating in the clockwise direction. Okay. That means they cannot, all four of them cannot rotate in the same direction. So we can eliminate option A also. Now option C and D, which one will be the correct answer? The question is asking us if we want to lower it. So if we want to lower it, we want this knot to go down, right? So if the knot goes down, that means S will rotate in the clockwise direction. So only one option is giving us S rotating in clockwise direction. Which option is that? Only one option is giving us S rotating in clockwise direction. It is not D. It will be option C. Okay. So these mechanical systems are very logical, and you just have to see if whether you can follow the logic well or not. And basic logic, right? Pulleys, if they're connected, they can rotate in the opposite direction. They can't rotate it. They have to rotate in the same direction. If there is another pulley in between, then they become in opposite direction. So these things, even if you don't know theories, you can still imagine. You can physically imagine, right? So that is how you do mechanical system. Then there is series, where they give you a series of, they give you series of something, and then they want you to figure out what sort of and what sort of option will come in the end. So if you look at this question, I want you to divide all of them like this, right, in two parts. We can see that the pink dot is rotating anti-clockwise. Can you see that? It goes like this, right? It has reached the second one. It has reached the third one, which is here. It has reached the fourth one here. In our answer, it should be where? In our answer, it should be, it has gone 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be in the fifth dot, right? It has gone, in all our options, it has gone 1, 2, 3, 4. Our answer should have it in the fifth point, right? So we already know that C and D can be eliminated, correct? And if you look at the green one is rotating, also rotating anti-clockwise. So it is going like this. So it has gone here in the second one, here in the third one, here in the fourth one. It should be somewhere here. I'll just put a green dot here. Green one should be somewhere here, right? So both of them should be touching each other, which is true for A, and it is true for B as well. Now, what can we do? Both of them have the green and the pink one touching each other. What do we do? Then we look at the shape of the whole thing. You can see the whole thing rotating anti-clockwise, right? So it should look like this in our option, the whole shape. So A will not be the answer. Okay, so this is series. So series, they will give you some sort of series, and they want you to figure out what sort of answer will you get. Okay, then there are perspective questions. If you are a dinosaur, you're this big, what sort of perspective would you get? So see, if you were this dinosaur, right? If you were this dinosaur, you won't be able to see, because it is eye level, you won't be able to see the top of the building, isn't it? You can't see the top of the building. So option A and B get eliminated. And out of B and C, which one should I eliminate? I can eliminate 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just making sure I get the correct answer. Yeah, right. So we can see that this yellow building is not in front of this blue building, right? But whereas in option D, it is showing that the yellow one is in front of the blue building, which is not true. So D also gets eliminated. The correct answer would be option C. Aditya is saying that we can have done that with simple rotation also, right? Aditya, we can do it with simple rotation, but all these three look similar, right? Just for rotation. That is why we need to look at the dots as well. Okay. That is why we did not just look at the shape. If we just look at the shape, B and C and D are pretty similar. It can be both of them, all three of them. That is why we look at the dots then. Okay. All right. So then there is projection, where you're projecting something. I think for this, some sort of architecture questions you guys can look at. Architecture questions has a lot of projection questions. For this question, I'm not going to solve it, but if you look at it closely, you can take a screenshot of it. If you look at it closely, all of these options will look like a square within a square from the front as well as the top. So architecture, front elevation, side elevation, and top view, these sort of things are very, very common, and you can refer to them. Okay. Then difference. This to all of us have done as children in magazines. Remember, the Sunday Ko magazines would come, and we would try to figure out the differences between the two photos. So that you can do, right? Very, very easily. Just as an example, let me see what I can quickly tell you. If I am not able, why am I not able to solve any of them? Yeah, so you can see that there is no straw here, right? A straw is here. So again, this is a numerical answer question. They're asking for the number of differences. So the answer would be a number, not multiple select, not multiple choice. If they've given you options, whether it is 7, 8, 9, 10, then you select options. Right? Okay. Then there is mirror image. Mirror image. Now remember, guys, just very quickly, let me tell you, mirror image mein if this is, for example, Vidhi replied the latest. Now, so if this is Vidhi standing and this is her reflection in the water, if you're looking at Vidhi, you are not looking at Vidhi from center point, right? That is why the reflection will not be exact top and bottom. The reflection will instead be coming from eye level. So if you're looking from eye level, you will see that the hair that is looking big here, it should look small here. It should not look equal. I'll just change my color. It should not look equal, like in option A, right? So it should not look equal when it is a mirror reflection that you're seeing from eye level. So it will not be A. Similarly, it will not be C because of hair ka size. You can definitely find many more differences. In option D, you can see that, let's call her Vidhi. Oh, her name is Asta. Asta is looking at the board here, but she's not looking at the board here. So D will also not be the option. The correct answer would be option B. And I'm sure you guys will be able to figure out many more differences. Okay, this is mirror. But yeah, you need to remember logic. If you have logic, you will be able to solve it. Okay. Then there is map orientations. Map orientation where you just need to start at one point and then you need to follow the instructions given, right? So for example, she takes a journey, she takes her second left. So this is the first left, this would be the second left. You take the second left. So this is the first left, this would be the second left. Then you take the second right. So this would be the first right, this would be the second right, and then take the third right. So this would be the first right, second right, and third right. So like that, you need to follow the orientation. Okay. This will be map orientation. Then there are Venn diagrams, and I think Venn diagrams, there will be enough tutorials on YouTube for understanding Venn diagrams. And there are many different types of questions that can come. Okay. Now, I'll take a few minutes. I'll just drink some water because I've been speaking nonstop. All of you, within 2 minutes, you can put down your questions. A lot of you have already put down questions, but you can just put them down again so that it will be easier to find them. Right. And first, let us do questions regarding the format of the question paper. Tell me all the questions that you have regarding the format of the question paper. Any question regarding format of the question paper? Do I have? This is the format of the question paper. Tell me any doubts. Vidhi, maths will come in the form of geometry. And it can be calculation also, probability geometry, but very simple maths, right? 10th level maths might come. Okay. Okay, while you guys are noting down your questions, I'll just go up and check all the questions that you have given. So Sakshi is asking, sir, मैं select होने के बाद foundation year के दूसरे NIT campus जा सकते हैं, like अगर गांधीनगर से अहमदाबाद? No. So what Sakshi is asking, if you've been selected in NIT, can you change your department and your campus after, or that can be true for Uceed seed also? Now, can you change it in the second year? No, Sakshi, because all the campuses have different departments. So the departments are not same. So for example, Gandhinagar and Paldi, they don't share departments. Photography is in Gandhinagar and it is PG. Product design is both PG and UG in Paldi, right? Product design is not there in Gandhinagar. So similarly for IITs, also it might, I'm pretty sure it will be true that you can't change it after the first year. Department as well as the campus. Khushi, can you please elaborate what do you mean sectional cutoff? What are the required marks for getting into IIT? Bhumi is asking. So Bhumi, I think it depends, the cutoff and the marks required depends on what the other people have answered. So if 90% of the population have only gotten 120 out of 300 marks and you got 121, right? You might get selected, right? And it depends on if it is a very difficult question, people are not able to get more than 100 marks and you got, let's say 99, 98, you might get selected. Right, but if it is a very easy question and easy question paper and you got only 150 marks, whereas people are scoring above 250 marks, then you won't get selected. So it depends on how other people are performing. Okay, so Safalia is asking, sir, we wouldn't be provided with the question paper. So how would we calculate the squares without drawing lines, as we cannot? Yes, so yes, you will be attending the question paper on a screen. That is true. You have to be clever about it. You will have rough papers with you, right? So maybe you can quickly draw it. Or I suggest, like, if the examiner is not watching, you can just use the pencil and mark it on the screen very, very lightly, isn't it? So that just to be sure. But it will be best if you can draw it on your sheets, which you have, rough paper sheets, very quickly. And that is why you need to be mentally you need to be able to do the calculations, rotations, right? I'm just looking at the questions dependent on the format. Meta is asking, I am a 2020 drop student. Can I get admission? You just attempt these question papers, Meta, and if if you perform well, of course you will get admission. Why not? It doesn't matter if you're a dropout or not. If you're attempting the question paper well, if you're getting good marks, definitely you'll get selected. Why not? Right. I'm just checking whether there are any question format based questions. Otherwise, we'll move to the. Okay, so you want to understand the partial marking system again. Okay. So we will zoom question during exam, like the words for finding difference on one. I don't know, Baba Yaga, John Wick. I don't know whether you will be able to zoom in or not. I think a very easy way to zoom into browsers is you can just, for example, I can just press Control and you can scroll. So it zooms in. Okay, you just scroll, press Control and scroll on your mouse. So it zooms in. So I think it might work. So just check. Okay. Right. Hari Krishna wants to understand partial marking. I'll come back to that. Vidhi is asking, SEPT, does SEPT have their own exam? Sachin and Suraj, you guys might be able to clarify. Does SEPT have their own exam?
So he's asking about the SEPT, right, sir?
Yeah, yes.
No, actually, they have two ways. The All India selection is based on the NATA score and +2 score. And every year there will be official notification from their side.
Okay. So Vidhi, you heard that? It is based on your +2 and NATA scoring. And what was the last point, Sachin?
So they will every year they will do the notification if there is any kind of change in the selection procedures. Definitely it will be there in the official notification. But last year it was from NATA score and +2 scores.
So there was not a separate examination for SEPT.
Yes.
Do they consider CEED scores or NID scores?
Yes, also.
Okay, okay. So
but
they
this year it's not sure whether they are taking or not, because on the official website there is no information regarding the SEPT, which has been a participation institution, but we just have to wait for it.
Okay, so Vidhi, you can think of it like for now, you can think of it in the sense that +2 and NATA score and NID and Uceed and CEED might be an additional this thing. And additional scoring, like you can show them, see, I got very good marks in CEED. So they might consider when you're going for an interview or something like that, right? But NATA and +2 for now is very important, right? So how much marks is needed in part A to get under 100 rank? Again, Rishabh, it depends on how other people are performing. If 99 people out of 100 perform, like scored above 150, and if you score 151, it depends on how other people are performed, right? So top 100, of course, top 100 will end up performing better than the rest of the people. So it depends on how other people perform. So how do we solve the question? Like, okay, we'll come back to that. Will there be partial marking for multiple selective questions? Yes, I'll come to that. By giving Uceed, we can say, what is the possible marks for getting into IIT Guwahati for general? What are the possible marks? Okay, so Hanum, these questions, the coordinators from THiNC will be able to answer for you. So after I'm done with my presentation, they can inform you better, right? So, okay, we got you. You sent it 3 times, Hanum, the questions. Right, so now again, some of you are asking for the partial marking. How is partial marking done? Sir, are you sure about the partial marking for MSQ? Because my coaching guy, he told something different. I'm confused. So Safalia, after my presentation, the coordinators will once again clarify, but they have recently changed this pattern where you can see it in front of you, right? If it is multiple select question, right? Multiple select question. If you've given a wrong answer, it will be negative marking. Even if you've given the right answer along with it. If for example, again, I'll write A and B as the wrong answer in red, and I'll write C and D as the right answer in blue. So if you've given C and D, you get full marks. If you have given only C or only D as the answer, you get partial marks. But if you give C or B, you get negative marks. If you give D and A, you get negative marks. If you give C and A, you get negative marks. If you give D and A, B, you get negative marks. If you give C and D and B, you get negative marks. So if you end up choosing a wrong answer in any case, you'll get negative marking. Okay. So as I said before, for partial marking questions, it will be better to only attempt and answer the questions, answer the options that you are confident of. Okay. Afreen, are you clear now? Because I'm just explaining the partial marking only, right? Basically, for example, for example, the complete marks for this question is 4 marks, right? If you give both C and D, you get 4 marks. But if you get only C, you might get 2 marks. If you get only D, you might get 2 marks. Okay. So like that, they might divide it. So it depends on how many. So for example, if B, C, and D are the correct answer, then it will not be 2, it will be some 1.3 something, 1.3, 1.3, 1.3 like that. So it is according to their calculations. Just remember that in partial markings, it will be better if you guys don't attempt the wrong answers at all. Okay. Okay. So just can you guys put down the questions, the particular questions that you want to ask? Meanwhile, I'm just checking, just clarifying the this thing, partial marking wala thing once again. Right. So what was said before is correct. If you in any case choose a wrong answer along with the right answer, the wrong option along with the right option, you will get negative marks. So it will be better. So for example, all 4 options are correct. Right. For example, all 4 options are correct. Right. And you choose only A, you will get 1 mark. If you choose A and B, you get 2 marks. If you choose A, B, and C, you get 3 marks. If you choose all A, B, and C, and D, you will get 4 marks. If it is a 4-mark question, right? But if in this D is a wrong answer, right? Let me just select. Imagine D is the wrong answer, and you end up choosing A, B, C, and D, you will get negative marking. If you choose A, B, and D, you get negative marking. If you choose B, C, and D, you get negative marking. So only choose those. It is better to score just 2 marks rather than getting negative marking, right? So it is better you choose only the options that you're 100% confident with. Okay. All right. Moving ahead, which college is better, NIT or IIT for design? Vedant, both of them have very different approaches for design. NIT, IITs, and within IIT also, because I've been in both the places, within IIT also, like IIT Hyderabad focuses more on visual design. IIT Bombay focuses more on product design. IIT Kanpur, IIT IISc also has a design branch. It focuses very heavily on engineering design. Kanpur may just open design department, and I think they will focus on engineering more. NIT, it is more art and design. Okay, so there will be like functional designs that come out of NIT, but it will be more of let's say there will be an artistic side to it. There will be engineering will be a little less in NIT, is what I'm saying, right? And NIT will be more global in thinking, and it will also be problem solving, but it will go NIT, you can say it is more socio-cultural, whereas IITs are more engineering based, right? What about IIT Guwahati? IIT Guwahati is somewhere between product and engineering, Hanum, for in the design section, but they are also getting into visual and the other thinking, right? No, so can you explain the which college is better in NIT and IIT? I don't know. I've been to both of them. Both have their pros, both have their cons. The only thing that I find a little difficult now, NIT is getting a little expensive these days. So that is one problem that I particularly feel. So that might be one thing that you can consider. Okay. So let us go with the questions. Before we go to solving doubts and questions, coordinators, do you want to say anything? Like, do you want to correct anything or?
No, sir. No, we are good to go. Okay, fine.
So I just pick out all the questions that you guys were saying. So let me see. So can you solve the surface counting? Okay, let us do one surface counting question. Okay. Let us do this question. Okay. So now remember that this shape is the same shape, just shown from different sides. Okay. So now we'll start counting, right? I will start from here. Can you see that whenever it will be continuous, it will be a single surface. Okay. But whenever it is not continuous, it will be separate surface. So for example, I can see there is an edge. Wherever an edge appears, can you see this edge? Wherever this edge appears, it means it is breaking off the surface, right? So this is one surface, right? And actually, because this is curved, this also becomes the same part of the surface. Okay, one. This is the same surface, same surface, same surface, going on till here, right? So just to be sure, I will come. So we've reached here, right? This is the same as this, right? We've reached here. Now you can see that it is going till here, right? And if you go a little up, you can see that this is also smooth. So this whole thing is another surface. Okay, so this whole thing is one single surface. Okay, this whole thing. So one. Now, if I look at the top whole thing is a flat thing. It's one surface. I can see it is connected here smoothly, so it will be a continuous surface. This is also connected at the bottom also, so the bottom is also one continuous surface, right? So this whole thing, top to side to bottom, one surface, right? I can see these are three individual surfaces, so I'll put 3 here. Now let us look at this one. Now we've reached this image. Okay, continuous. All right, and here I can see edge, 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 edge. So this will be one, right? This will be one, right? These will be 3 separate surfaces because they are all surrounded by edges and they don't have any smooth corners. So 3. This is one flat surface. It will be 1, right? Now this surface is the same as this surface, right? Which is one single surface. I can see edges on all sides. It does not have any smooth edges. That means it is not continuous surfaces. This will be 1, right? 2, I mean one more surface, one more surface. And I can see inside there is a single surface, which is actually you can see it is a smooth surface. Smooth surface. So it will be one continuous surface. Did I write this one? 1. Yeah. So this one I did not write. So this will be one single surface. This is surrounded by edges. So it will be one surface. Now look at this one. This one is actually smooth here, right? Which is actually here. So this will be one surface. Then this whole thing would be one surface, right? And it does not have any other smooth edges. So that is why we can consider it limited till here, one surface. Then this D, can you see this D? This will be one surface. And this smooth curve would be one surface, right? I might or might not have missed out on any surfaces, but when you look at this YouTube video recording, you can just check it again and you can make sure if I've done it correctly or not. So that is how you calculate this. Now let us just calculate the total. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 surfaces. Okay. So it will be a total of 21 surfaces. And this one is a pretty tricky one, but if you pay attention to them closely, you will be able to do it. As somebody before asked, so what will we do if we can't, mark on the screen? What do we do? You will have to be very, 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 very careful, and you will have to mentally remember which surfaces have already been done. So in that case, you can look at individual corners, so that like individual shapes from different views, and you can be sure that you're done with that. Okay. All right. So can you help with the geometry questions? Answer which geometry questions? Be a little more particular. Sir, questions in which the open to the surface of any solid is given, and we have to identify that when the solid will be open, it will look like the following from the options. Okay, I think Let us take this one. Okay, let us take this one. I think you mean something like this. So in this question, the question is asking front and back views of the solid are shown. Which of these options can be folded to form the solid? Right. So for your first approach, this particular question is very easy, because what you can do, your approach can be sorry, I just stopped sharing by mistake. Yeah, your first approach can be you just count the number of red or pink and green, right? How many pink are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. How many green are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right. So first of all, let us look at the options which don't have 6 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 5 green. Option A gets eliminated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So B might be correct. Right. So we'll keep B. In option C, we can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pink are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pink are there. So C also gets eliminated because we want 6 and 6. And in option D, we can see 1, 2, 3, 6 green and 6 pink. Right. So now we have to check between D and B. Now I wanted to imagine that if you take this shape and if you close it, right? If you try to pack it, pink, pink, green. Okay, just a second. Pink, pink, green next to pink, pink, green, right? So this pink can be this, right? And then this side would be pink, pink, green, right? Pink, pink, green. Okay. Now the question comes, if it is coming pink, pink, green, that means we should get pink here also, right? Because this is pink, pink, and next to it is pink, pink, right? So this should also be pink, or whatever comes here. So what is joining here? Right, there should be a pink here, right? There should be a pink here, which is not there. Okay, now I'll come back to this. Whereas when you close this up, actually this pink should have been here, because when you close this, when you try to close this shape, option D, these two will end up overlapping with each other. Okay, they will overlap. So it will be the wrong answer. But if you see option B, right? So A is wrong, C is wrong, D is wrong. If you see option B, pink and this pink will get connected by this one. Pink, pink, and this pink will get connected with this pink, because it will, when you close it, it will join here, right? So pink, pink next to pink, pink, which is correct. And there is two extra pinks, which are the bottom connected to green, bottom one connected to, it will connect here to the green one. So it is satisfying our need for pink, pink, green, pink, pink, green. Okay. So that is why we know that option B, even though option B and D, both of them had the same number of greens and pinks, but just to clarify, we could imagine them closing properly. Now, how do you do a question like this? Again, practical knowledge. So I would suggest you take paper, you cut out this sort of a shape, right? And you try to fold it along the dotted lines and try making a cube from that. Okay. And write different numbers on it, 4, 2, 1, 5, and then see where are they connecting. Right. When you're done with that, you take maybe you cut a bigger piece of paper, then try folding it and see what sort of shape it is making. Right. So whenever you do folding of shapes, you need to have a lot of practical knowledge. Okay. Okay, let's see any other questions are like the 27th. Safalia said 27th for 27th. Achha, this one. Again, practical knowledge, Safalia. Try making this. I already told you, no? Try making this at home. Okay, and you'll definitely get the answer. I want you to attempt it, because if I start explaining it to you right now, it will be very difficult to explain a practical question through online explanation. You'll have a YouTube tutorial. This is called a Mobius strip, M-O-B-I-U-S, a Mobius strip. And you can search for that and try attempting this. I'm sure you will be able to attempt it. Okay. So It can also be done by simple bottom left up match will come, which section should we start? Okay, now there are some new questions. What the okay, so how do you get good marks in part B? So that we'll have to keep a different section for that. But very quickly, if I can give you an answer, quickest answer would be very creative and be very strong with your drawing skills. Okay, if you don't have good drawing skills like me, you have to be very good with your ideas. Your ideas should be very good. Okay, that your idea should be very unique. So for example, if they've told you to draw a room, you need not draw a 2D room. You can draw it from one corner. You can draw it from the perspective of an ant. You can draw it from the perspective of a fan. You can draw it from the perspective of the bulb, right? You can draw a room in space. You can draw a room in a garden. So be very creative about your answers. Okay. Just a second. Then we have more questions. Answer is asking, does NIT and IIT alumni hold the same power during career? It will depend on where have you graduated from. Answer, like if you're doing MDes from somewhere or BDes from somewhere or your PhD from somewhere, right? So first of all, it will depend on that. Secondly, what do you mean more power? Do you mean who will earn more money? Who will make a better career? Who will make the world better by their designs? It all depends on the person. If you are motivated by yourself, I have seen entrepreneurs like very successful. My friends are earning 40 lakh a package from NIT. My friends are earning 40 lakh a package from IIT, right? So it depends on how sincere you are. And I have friends earning 40 lakhs, even more than that actually, who don't have any sort of these degrees in design because they are just good designers, right? Because their logic is good. They are sincere with their practice. So I don't like these questions, right? If you want to do something good, if your aim is just to earn more money, you will have if you go to NIT, you will think about money. If you go to IIT, you will think about money. If your aim is to build a better India or you want to build a better world, you'll do the same if you go to IIT. You'll do the same if you go to NIT. If you want your name to be famous, NIT people know NIT people, and everybody knows people from NIT. Everybody knows people from IIT. If you want a good rishta, IITs would be better because in that case, NIT, a lot of people don't know NIT, right? So you can say Mera beta is in IIT, so you'll get a lot of good offers for marriage. Okay. So can we use pencil or multiple for counting shapes and lines during the exam because it is a little tricky to count without marking? And you are also marking surface. Vedant, that is why I said you have to be clever within the examination and see what can be done. Okay, like if your examiner is very strict, he's coming again and again, that I will leave to your own creativity. Okay. Trace the shape on paper. Yes, you can also do, you can keep the paper on the screen and trace it as Ansel is saying. Very nice. That is also a very good answer. This took a lot of time. Is it good to get into these first? So Soham, there is a delay in what I'm saying and what you're seeing. So what do you mean by this? I don't know. I've already moved to something else now. So what did you mean this? When counting surface, go clockwise or anti-clockwise? When counting surfaces, whatever direction you go only in one direction. If you try to go in both the directions, it will be very difficult. But if you start at one corner and start counting the rest of the shape, it will be much better. Sir, how can we solve PNC questions fast? What is PNC? PNC. Just elaborate what is PNC, okay? Sir, could you do another question related to unfolding? So Shrishna, I just did one. So I hope that is enough. Sir, how much questions approximately come from maths in Uceed? You can imagine maths playing a role indirectly or directly, you can say 60% of the questions, I would say, because there is geometry, there is probability. Not this 60% is ekdam off the top of my head. It is not accurate. But if you see the question, almost all of them have some sort of maths going on in them. Right? Some sort of maths, because even surface counting is maths, right? Even cube counting is maths, like shape counting is maths, right? You say 2020, question 21. Aditya is asking this from yesterday. Aditya, I'll come back to that. Just let me see. You see 2020. If it would take a lot of time, I will not go ahead with that, Aditya. But if we can quickly show it to everyone, how does it look? Oh, you can take a screenshot of this. Basically, they're saying these are four pieces of puzzle. So see, this is figure transformation, right? 4 pieces of the same puzzle. If we connect 1, 2, 3, 4, will it make a square? If we connect 3, 2, 4, 4, will it make a square? If we connect 2, 2, 2, 2, will it make a square? And if we connect 2, 2, 3, 4, will it make a square? So the first rule for this question, as I said, logic will always be there in front of you, right? First logic should be the first logic of puzzles is that the number of depression, right? This is a depression, and the number of protrusion should be equal, right? Because protrusions will go into the depressions, right? So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, we have, if we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 depressions, whereas 1, 2, and only 3 protrusions. That means 1, 2, 3, 4 will not fit in perfectly. 3, 2, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3 depressions, and 1 and 4, 4 is 2 times. So that means 2 times 2. That means 5 protrusions and only 3 depressions. So 3, 2, 4, 4 will also not make a square, right? They will just not fit properly. If you use 2 4 times, it will be 4 protrusions and 4 depressions. It will make a square, and I will leave it to you to cut it out on paper and check it whether it will, how does it fit. And 2, 2, 3, 4. It does it 2, 2, 3, 4 would mean 2, 2. That means 2 protrusions plus 2 protrusions. So 4 protrusions and 2 depressions plus 2 more depressions plus 4. So theoretically, they are fitting well. They are fitting 4 and 4, but you can actually do it. And I'll just quickly show you how 2 and 2, 2, 2, 2 will work, and you can do the last option by yourself. Okay, so I'll just take. All right, so you can just take 2, right? And I'll just color it. Yeah. This will be again 2, and this will be another 2, right? That is how it will end up making a square. Okay. Now the option D, I will leave it to you for you to do it. Okay. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this now. How to manage time in examination? Kushagra, do the questions that you know and you think you can do fast, do them first. And for example, if there are some questions like part B, right? I would also always suggest read part B first. If you get part B along with part A, if you don't, you can't do anything. But just read all the questions first, so that while you're attempting the questions that you already know, you will, in the background of your mind, you can keep thinking of what could be the logic for the question that I did not get, right? But definitely attempt the questions that you know first. The 2D cutout folded into the shape one, the green and the pink one. I think that is what we did, Soham. Acha, those take a lot of time. Yeah, Soham, again, do practical examples, do practical experimentation, color it differently, all the different sides. And with that, you will be able to have better practice mentally. You will be able to mentally rotate and connect them much better. Okay. But Aditya, I already solved this now. I can't do anything. Sorry. Aditya said 2020. My bad, Aditya. Sorry. So please tell about the paper solving strategy, which section to solve first, which to do last, how much type of different kind of questions and all. I would suggest go now. This is me suggesting, because I prefer it. Someone else might prefer something else better. I would suggest go with go section wise. First of all, read all the questions, right, very quickly, but then go section wise, because when you're doing MCQ and you suddenly start doing MSQ, you might end up giving more than one answers for MSQ, right? Whereas MCQ only requires one answer. What if you put 3 answers for MCQ? So do section wise, but read all the questions first. So what do I do in these remaining 2-3 days before exam? Let me think, Vedant. First of all, whatever you're weak in, if you're weak in doing some practical rotation, do some practical cut out papers and do some practical rotation. You can spend 2-3 days just solving Uceed question papers from 2013 to 2020, and lots of mock tests are also available online. You can do those and much more. Okay, sir, part A and part B एक साथ होता है क्या? फिर part A. Okay, so Vedant is asking, do we get the whole question paper together, or do we first solve part A and then attempt part B? Okay, so for that, I will hand it over to the coordinators, Vedant. They will clarify it for you. And along with that, I think we'll, for my part, I'll end my presentation here. If you have any more questions, you can ask the coordinators. And I think all the questions that you guys have UC 2018, like I don't know who this dude is. His name is YouTube or Dudette. UC 2018 question number 42, question number 38. So you guys can do the questions that you have, that your friends have suggested. You can do them as well. Okay. So now, coordinator Suraj, I hand it over to you. And first, maybe you can just tell these guys whether part A and part B, do you get the question paper together, or do you first solve part A and after you've got certain marks, you move on to part B? Okay, thank you, all of you, and all the best for your paper. Okay, all the very, very best for your paper. Don't get hyper, don't get tensed. Take it, think of it calmly. The answer will always be there in the question. Always. You don't need to know theories for these. Maybe some basic theory, Pythagoras and trigonometry for trigonometric questions. But other than that, logic will be there. Okay. All right. Suraj, over to you.
Yes, thank you, sir. So before we move on to the discussion about the question papers, which some of you have been asking, we would like to share regarding the tomorrow's session. So first thing is, tomorrow we'll have a session which has been similar to yesterday and day before yesterday. It would be on the part B, drawing part. So there is a question that will be provided to you, and you can give your answers. You can submit your drawings in the Google form. The link and all has been provided. We've already scheduled that live and kept it in the channel. So you can go to the YouTube channel and click on the link and submit it via the Google Forms. Just like how we have done it yesterday and day before yesterday, we will have a live feedback session tomorrow by our faculty. Okay. This is the question. The question would be made available in YouTube, Telegram, and Instagram. Okay. So just like how we have done yesterday and day before yesterday, you have to submit it by 4 p.m. Okay. That is the first thing that I had to say. If you want, you can just take a screenshot of this. I'll give you 15 seconds. I'll just freeze it and keep it. Okay, so that is the first thing. The second thing is that we have nift batches and all that is coming up. So if there is anyone who is preparing for nift or any of the other, even architecture and other entrance exams and all that are coming up, you can please join by contacting us in the given number. Okay, so now to answer to the questions on how to deal with this Uceed question paper, whether to go with part A first, part B first, what should be the answering strategy and things like that. Let me take this opportunity to invite our academics head, Sachin sir. Sachin, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible. Am I clearly audible?
Yes, sir, your voice is clear.
Okay, so I think Chaitanya has well explained the kind of category of question and the major topics which you has to be expected in the Uceed examination. There are several important topics, and I think he have included the most important topics, like you have seen right now. Different category of question which we can expect a sure question from, like a geometry, surface counting, font related, animation or transformation related question, or difference questions, sequence. So there are different kind of questions which can be expected. So also you have inquiry regarding which has to be answered first. But according to us, in the last examination, how it has been, the first 2.5 hours. The total duration of the Uceed examination is 3 hours. The first 2.5 hours will be for part A, which will be the aptitude section, which consists of NAT, MSQ, and MCQ part. So you have to attend that, and only after that they will provide you the drawing sheet in order to attend the drawing test. So it has been clearly mentioned in such a way that only you can attend the part A section first. There will be specific time, since the part B only have 30 minutes. You know the time restriction for UC. Part B, the drawing test. So it has to be really crucial. For attempting the part B section, the drawing section, only 30 minutes will be there. They have to consider that the total duration of the examination is around 3 hours and 2.5 hours for part A and 30 minutes for part B. So that will be the time duration for the UCED examination.
Sachin, that means what you're saying is that means that if they're only getting 30 minutes for part B, that means they can't do part A and B together, isn't it?
Yes, sir. They cannot be do together. Only after completing the part A section, there will be defined 2.5 hours for doing part A. And then only after the last 30 minutes, they will be provided with the drawing sheet.
And I think what about the part B questions? Will they be given after 2:30, 2.5 hours?
I guess so.
Yeah. So guys, you can actually better consider it as you will be getting the questions after 2.5 hours only. Think of that. Yeah. Yeah, Sachin, you can continue.
And guys, in order to, I think in the official UC website itself, there is a small mock link in order to try how the interface will be. I think it will be a better option if you are going through that, because in the official website itself, how the examination interface will be, there is a link for that. So if you want to try that, you can definitely go for that, how the actual examination interface will be. And it is in the official UCED website. I think in the examination section, there is an option like part A, the structure of the examination. So in particular that section, they have been given a particular link in order to see how the interface of the examination will be. So we can go for that. So before the actual examination, you can try that, how the examination interface will be. And I think host, can you just, I may have the provision to share the screen?
Yes, sir. You have the provision.
Okay, fine. So I will just share the screen for you.
Meanwhile, Sachin, I just want to point out what Safalya is asking, that there have not been any general knowledge or English-based questions, only logical and mathematical. So should we focus on them? Safalya, that is not sure. They can still give you passages and they can still ask for logical reasoning from passages. So it is better to prepare for logical reasoning, but also be ready for questions that might come from English or from GK. Okay.
Yes, of course. I think
Sachin, I think I'll leave now because I need to attend another meeting. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
All the best, all of you, and thank you, hosts.
Okay. So, guys, like Salam has mentioned, the weightage will be low for the general knowledge and language-based questions. The weightage will be low, but we cannot say whether they can be expected or not. But just go with that. Yes, as Safalya mentioned, has not been any general knowledge or English-based question. But there was one or two. You can expect 1 or 2 questions. And the one I have mentioned is right there in the, just wait guys, the examination section. There is an option called question paper structure. So in here at the last, there is a sample exam interface link. So here you can just click on sign in. You can see the interface of the examination like this. And next, so here you can see the interface of the UCED examination. Okay, so here it is. There is a calculator, not the calculator. There is an option to enter the answer like this. So you can try it. If you want to be familiarized with the interface, you can just try this. It's in the official website. Okay, so any other question? How much marks getting into IIT Guwahati for general? So guys, like every year the marks and score has been changing. I think Chaitanya sir also has mentioned regarding cutoff or the rank. And I think there is no such data with we can compare with the marks. Only the last rank detail is available in the official website of the Uceed, and we can only say according to that. The last rank details, it's available in the official website of the Uceed itself. We cannot say exactly the marks which they have been secured. So the next question again, cutoff for rank for girls in IIT Bombay. Yes, again, like I have mentioned, it can be, it will be different. Not can be, it will be different every year according to the examination. So Sadik has mentioned general awareness is still mentioned in the exam syllabus of UC 22 in the official brochure. Yes, Sadik, they have mentioned it in the syllabus. Also, they have mentioned it in the last year also. Even if they have mentioned the syllabus, there has been a note like they have the freedom to include that particular topic or not. So it's their freedom to include that particular topic or not in the examination. So there will be, we are not saying like there will not be any GK question. Definitely there will be, but in the past 2 years, the weightage for GK is relatively low. In the last year, there were, I think, one question from asking the monuments and dynasty related question. And before that, I think there was only one single question. And one general question in the general knowledge category, which you can expect will be the question from logo. So every year, we find a question from logo. So in that particular section, yes, definitely you can expect a question from logo. So next question, maths important for UC topic. So Vidhi, like earlier mentioned, there will not be a direct mathematics question. Like there will not be a direct question from mathematics. Sometimes you have to use some of the equation. Like there will be a question like in the initial section, there were a question from geometry. So in order to attempt those particular geometry questions, you should aware about the area, perimeter, or the volume of that particular geometry or 2D or 3D shape. So you should be aware about that. So that is the only thing. And there we have seen some question from probability, permutation, and combination like that also in the previous years. So you can just go for that basic probability, permutation, and combination question. And it will be definitely better if you are just going through the equation of 2D shapes and the 3D shapes. Okay, it will be better for directly or indirectly. There will be a chance in order to apply those equations. So definitely you just go for this, studying the equation. And also, I think in some question you have to apply some basic trigonometry also, some basic, very basic trigonometry also. So just revise some basic equations. That's enough. Not that hard mathematics part. Okay. Where to find mock test? Also, in the THiNC website also, you have some free mock test to attend for. Definitely you can go for that. So will the examination conducted on this Sunday? Yeah, of course. The examination is on this Sunday. So last tips for the exam. So last tips means just go for, just revise the previous year question papers. That's enough for this last 2 days. Just revise the question, just practice the question you have already practiced, and try to solve it in different ways, and just find out the best, the least time consuming methods. There are different way to approach a particular question. So definitely go for the least time consuming one. So that will be the better one. So try to make fast, doing the question a little bit fast. So that will be the major thing. Just go for a previous year question. You will, I think you will get almost 60% of the question from the previous year question paper. Just revise it. Even if you have gone through 1 or 2 times, definitely you can revise it once more again. That will be the best option. And just revise. In the last 2 days, studying something new might be difficult for you. So in that particular scenario, just go for revising what you have learned so far. That's enough. And the previous year question papers, that's really important. User examination is offline, लेकिन वो pen paper mode होता है या ये monitor mode. So with the user part A section is definitely the computer based examination. So the part A section, the NAT, the MSQ and the MCQ section definitely will be a computer based test. And the part B section will be definitely the paper and pen mode. So they will provide you drawing sheets. So will the 130 marks total be enough for any IIT? Lakshya, like we have mentioned earlier, every year the cutoff may change. So we have to wait for it. Definitely they will publish the cutoff also. How many marks to get entered into? Again, the question. So what is time to attend the center? So I think Vardhan, you are mentioning about the reporting time. I think in the official means in your admit card, it's 7 a.m. The reporting time for registration has been mentioned as 7 a.m. and the examination will be from 9. So we can use scale compass for part B drawing section. So Utkarsha, I think they have specifically mentioned about the kind of drawing things you just need to carry with you along with you for the drawing test. I think it will be better you are just following that. If they have mentioned scale and compass, yes, definitely you can go for it. Otherwise, you can also take with you. If they are not allowing it, you can just you will not be able to use that. So if it's okay for the examination center, yes, definitely you can go for it. But also check with the admit card also whether they have specifically mentioned any kind of material or there is any special mention about the material you cannot be used. So under their entry is not mentioned, only exam starting time is given when we have to reach our center. No, Sachin, I think I have like mentioned, they have mentioned 7 a.m. as the reporting registration time. So you have to reach in that particular time, the 7 a.m. morning. So yes, so any more question? Any other questions? So guys, the logical reasoning part is one of the the crucial part of the UCED examination, and also the drawing, the limited part of the drawing. It's a limited time you have with you and for the examination. So just keep on calm and go for it, and try to solve in these particular 2 days. Try to do and practice more logical reasoning question. I think you can definitely go for the previous year question papers also. And yes, that's the main thing. Just go for the previous year question papers. Okay, so that would be enough for the practice. Okay.
So I think that would be it. Most of the questions have been answered. We've just shared a scorecard from 2021 so that you can get an idea of how exactly the end result of this exam would look like, or how it actually looked like in the last year. And I think regarding the entry time and all, it is 7 o'clock. So try to reach there as early as possible. If it's near your home, reach the location the day before. Just see where exactly the entry gate and things like that are. Okay, so that would be it from our side. All the best. We'll see you again tomorrow. We'll have one more session tomorrow at 5 o'clock. That would be part B regarding drawing. Okay, the link has already been shared in the live chat box. So you can subscribe to this channel if you're liking the content, and you will get the updates. And tomorrow we'll meet again in the live. And please do ensure that you submit the drawings for tomorrow as soon as possible. Okay, the submission time is already open. Okay, so that would be it from our side. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the participants, and thank you, Sachin sir, also for participating. And thank you, host, also for hosting us. All the best, everyone. See you tomorrow. Thank you.